Today, Precarious plays
Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Once upon a time, I played World of Warcraft. I know, foolish. But I didn't play World of Warcraft as the designers intended, I'm sure. Since then, extra credits, they have introduced me to a term where I think that maybe the way that I was playing it, it's not as crazy uncommon as I expected it to be, as I imagined it to be when I was doing it myself. I believe it is a content tourist, right? Mm-hmm. Or in a slightly less antagonistic voice. Yeah, an explorer, a content explorer. You explore what's there and then you get out.
You don't go there. You don't go live there. You don't go buy the summer home.
Right. You just what I did with World of Warcraft.
Everyone wants to flee to the Cleave.
What I did with World of Warcraft is I played until I'd hit the level cap. And it was time for me to start raiding. And the social dynamics proved far more challenging than any challenge up to that point in the game had presented. And I quit shortly after getting to the level cap.
So what, you didn't enjoy organizing with a bunch of strangers to go sit around and wait for something to happen that's exciting for about 5 minutes?
Wow, I've told you this story before, haven't I?
Yeah.
That was nearly verbatim. Scathing. Does it sound that mean whenever I say it? Oh boy, I'm a dick.
No, I have a pretty good sass voice. I can be real mean.
Okay, well let me back up. Let me begin at the beginning. I started as a night elf. I was a druid. I picked druid because sweet, accidentally picked up a move.
Hey.
I need to flee from all of my friends because they are all confused now. I'll just see if maybe they can beat each other up for a minute and break their own confusion. And I had a blast. I had a blast playing as a druid. I'd never played an MMO before, so everything was... The scope was almost overwhelming, right? I remember my friends, whenever I told them I'd been playing for a little while, I had a free trial, and I was just exploring, just messing around with the game. They were like, why don't you come find us in Stormwind? And I was like, Stormwind? Yeah, sure. I'll find you in Stormwind. Easy. Because they said it so casually that I was like, oh,
come over, come down the road.
So, using the map that they give you in the game, and my own wits, I set out from Teldrassil, which I believe is the name of the...
that sounds familiar.
I can't remember the name of the Night Elf capital. I think it's a D something, like Damarand, maybe. Something like that. D fantasy word. Damarand? Oh, what the fuck ever. Night Elf town. There was a boat. There was a boat to the mainland, and I found it, and I was like, this is it. This has got to get me closer to Stormwind. And I wasn't wrong, exactly. But it wound up taking me to this marshy town, this marshy seaside town, with enemies that very quickly were way too high level for me to fight effectively. But I was a fucking druid. Damn it, Mont Blanc, why? This is not how I wanted to introduce Dagger. Dagger is an amazing ability, and Mont Blanc, just in his confused state,
is killing it. but it is the wrong thing.
Yeah, you got it. I think that the best thing that's happened so far is Jonah, I believe, used blind to blind him. I've mostly been ignoring the action so I don't get too mad at any of them. Okay, anyway, I wonder if they'll still participate in combos even if they're confused. Because maybe I can use that to... either no one's in range or they won't participate. So,
So you got on the boat.
I got on the boat and
Got to the mainland, marshy town, scary enemies, but you're a fucking druid, so...
So I turned myself invisible, and
yeah.
I stalked around as a cat. And I went east, and then I started to go to the north, and the enemies got stronger. Because I asked for directions. And do you know what a weird feeling that is, to be playing a game and you stop and you're like, excuse me, how do I get to Stormwind? And either someone like misunderstood the question or I didn't ask the right one. It's been lost to time, right?
Yeah.
But I wound up going the wrong direction for a long time, deeper into Scary Enemy Town.
Yeah.
But then I realized my mistake and turned around, started going back, but just that alone was still an interesting scenario, right?
Just getting so thoroughly adventure lost.
Yes. And eventually I found my way up a snowy mountain pass. And I stopped and I asked for directions again. And I was like, do you know how to get to Stormwind? And the person was like, if you go into Ironforge, you can take the tram? And I was like, thank you. And then I went into Ironforge, which, that itself, rounding a corner up a snowy mountain pass and seeing Ironforge from its exterior, which I now know might be something that some players, even if they play the game for 200 hours, might never actually see.
Oh, because you were on foot, and normally people are not just
running around. People... hold on, there's a conclusion. This is getting to the end.
Okay.
But let me explain. Oh my god, do they stay confused? Have none of them been hit? I guess, no, Jonah's been hit. Oh geez, I guess confusion is scarier than I recalled. Well, anyway, I went into Ironforge, and I found the tram, and sure enough, there is an under-mountain rail system that will take you from Stormwind from Ironforge to Stormwind and back. And then I was like, hey guys, because at that point, I think I texted or IM'd probably at that point. And I was like, I made it to Stormwind, what do you want to do? And they were like, nothing, I got a raid soon. And that became a reoccurring theme, but still, I was very proud of the journey that I made. And then to my disappointment, I found out from one of my friends who took the time to actually absorb the story that they were like, wait, where did you come from? How did you get here? And I told them all of the crazy things that had happened in much greater detail than I'm describing it now. And they were like, don't
know if I should tell you this.
Yeah, I should show you this, but I don't know how you'll react. And he took me to this portal and was like, if you just click on this, it will just teleport you from capital city to capital city. And then I thought for a moment and I was like, why would you want to do that? I mean, like I said, but you have to do it once on foot, right? And he was like, no. Why would you? No, of course not. But
it's so fun.
Yeah, and I was like, but I had an adventure. And now that I've been here on foot, now I feel like it would have been justified. It would have been earned to be able to teleport. And that's actually segue into Final Fantasy Tactics 14. I think you do have to go to most places on foot before you can teleport to them. So that's something that I appreciate.
How many MMOs have you played since then?
I think I've only played 4.
Okay.
4, maybe 5 total. Oh, so World of Warcraft, I played it like a single-player adventure game, like a Legend of Zelda or like Mass Effect. But just occasionally, I acknowledged that there were other people around, right?
Right.
Like, that's what I did.
You were just like, this is cool. We're all kind of doing the same thing parallel.
Yeah. And whenever that grew to be very hard to come by, that new sense of adventure, I stopped. I stopped playing. I played sometime after Burning Crusade. Damn. Sometime after Burning Crusade had come out. And I haven't played it since. Like, I've never relapsed. And I don't regret my time at all, which is something that I know that I know many people, they can't say. Usually right before they renew their subscription.
Yeah.
So I think what really broke my will to continue playing into like raid territory.
Yeah.
There was a guild which shall go unnamed. I will not name the guild. But I had a couple of friends in it, and they said, hey, if you get geared, if you get like the entry-level gear, you can join the guild and you can raid with us. And I said, okay, well, what's the entry-level gear for a druid? And they were like, Earth Warden. You need to get a hammer called Earth Warden. And I said, oh, okay. And at that point, I had already, like, I knew enough to look up information on the internet. So that way you can, you know, drastically reduce your enjoyment and the longevity of the experience in exchange for more immediate rewards. Which, of course, I mean, why the fuck would you do any other thing?
Right.
So I had already learned the true way to MMO.
Yeah.
High-level MMO, not high-level World of Warcraft. I mean, like, high-level, massively multiplayer online, the super game,
right.
The meta game. I had figured out where to get Earth Warden, and I ground for it. It was basically the same dungeon over and over again for just about, it was probably really only like 4 or 5 days. But, like in the evenings, I should say. Like 4 or 5 days after school.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was like 5 or 6 hours, which for what I now know about the genre, that's not bad, right?
Right.
Any other fucking game, that's pretty abysmal. Oops. Doesn't have boots yet, right? Right, okay. So I got Earth Warden. I demonstrated my possession of the thing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, cool. Okay, so you'll be able to start soon. You need to go to the something, the Isle of Sun. I can't remember. It was the most recent in-game content, and it was sort of a training area for raiding.
Yeah.
And they said, we're going to pair you up with a couple of people that are already in the guild, and one of them is going to help you get geared. You're going to be running dailies for a while to get enough like specific currency, like tokens you need to get geared. It'll probably just take, you know, like a couple weeks of casual play. And you'll be healing. And I said, fuck you, and I quit. And I said, thank you. I did not say fuck you. They were very kind, and I think that maybe I was a little too quiet when I left. Like, I don't think I made it as explicit as I would make it today. I would just have very clearly said that is unacceptable. And if we can't work out some alternative, then I'm not going to play. because Earth Warden is a piece of tanking gear. I did not grind for hours and hours
with the idea of tanking in mind,
just to then have them say, we need you to heal. Like, it was purely a test of my ability, my resolve. It was purely a test of what are you willing to do for the game and for our group. So Earth Warden, if I remember correctly, would not have helped me with what they needed me to do in the slightest. And that just, I've never been able to get into high-level MMO play since. That's sort of a downer, but Final Fantasy XIV is better.
Okay.